I'm back.
Okay.
Dr. Joe came in to say hello, and
Dr. Joe.
I had a million things to tell him. All right. I think we're ready here.
We are America.
Aw, shucky ducky, as the man would say.
Aw, shucky ducky was a way for me to say I am thrilled to be here.
Why not just say that?
Herman Cain. Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain. Thank you for joining us, because you know we're going to tell you the truth. Give you the facts, because we want you to be better informed and inspired to help make this a better United States of America. Thank you for joining us. Well, happening now, the Islamic State group is claiming responsibility for yesterday's attack in London by a man who plowed an SUV into pedestrians on a crowded London bridge and then stabbed a police officer to death on the grounds of Britain's parliament. The attacker was born in Britain and known to authorities who had once investigated him for links to religious extremism. British Prime Minister Theresa May today, in a sweeping speech in which she also encouraged Britons to go about their lives.
It is in these actions, millions of acts of normality, that we find the best response to terrorism. A response that denies our enemies their victory, that refuses to let them win, that shows we will never give in.
It's just another example that terrorism is a worldwide problem, folks, which is why this administration wants to do something to try to keep the bad folk out. And all the liberals and the Democrats do is to push back on those efforts. But this ought to be another painful reminder. At first it was reported that 3 people died. Now it's reported, at first reported that 4, now 3. So 3 or 4 people died in this incident. And I'm sure that the country is in the healing process. Also happening right now, the Supreme Court Nomination Committee has reconvened for its final day of hearings and its final day of stupid questions. That's all it's down to at this point. They can't dig up enough dirt, the Democrats, so they're going to continue to resort to grandstanding and trying to embarrass Judge Neil Gorsuch. But so far, they have not been able to do that. He's been at this for 2 days already, and it's been intense by some measures. But he will be going through another day of it today. The confirmation of Judge Neil Gorsuch is still anticipated, which would help make this a better United States of America. A better America.
A better America.
Go with our plan. It's going to be terrific.
Despite the desperate last-minute so-called tweaks and modifications,
You're going to be very, very happy.
Trump Care will still cause the American people to pay more for less care.
Call your local representative. Let them know that you're behind our plan.
Protect our care. Protect our care. Protect our care.
Herman Cain's connected, unfiltered perspective every day.
The more and more I hear some of the people out there who are protesting against the American Health Care Act, and they want to keep the Unaffordable Care Act, the more I'm convinced that they are being paid or they are being inspired to go out based upon a lack of knowledge in order to try to stop this legislation. The more people who go to town hall meetings that were held last week by senators and representatives. When an entire town hall meeting has 400 to 450 people to show up, and they are all against the American Health Care Act, doesn't that raise a little red flag? Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska experienced that last week. And my question was, where were his supporters? He announced that he was going to be during the town hall meeting, but too often, because we know we support the candidate and the things that they are trying to do, maybe we don't go to the town hall meetings. So this is what's happening, I believe, is that liberals and Democrats know that we might get complacent because we have a good guy, a good woman in there, and we won't show up for the town hall meetings, and so they get shouted down, and they believe that they get a reading on the mood of the people when, in fact, it's not a true reading on the mood of the people. And so just like those town hall meetings were not a true reading on the mood of the people, all of this opposition against the American Health Care Act is also not indicative of the mood of the people. Trinity B, I want you to play that Chuck Schumer clip one more time, number 14, where he says the Republican health care plan is dangerous for the nation.
Despite the desperate last-minute so-called tweaks and modifications, Trump care will still cause the American people to pay more for less care.
That is propaganda, and it's a lie. Chuck Schumer is part of the same group that lied to the American people in order to pass the Unaffordable Care Act, a.k.a. the Affordable Care Act. Now, allow me to explain why his statement is going to cause the American people to pay more for less care. It's called competition. HHS Secretary Price has said it over and over and over and over again that the American Health Care Act, the Republican plan, is designed to inspire more competition, which is going to lower prices and give you better care. You will get better care because you will select the coverage you want. And because there will be more competition in many of these counties around the country, competition is what drives prices down. But the Democrats are ignoring that. They are doing their opposition based upon, as Jonathan Gruber says, the stupidity of the American people. Well, allow me to address this issue of competition directly, because the competitive pressures that keep prices down and quality high are the same when it comes to health care as it is in any other market. The Unaffordable Care Act put more government in the way with mandates, penalties, and hidden taxes. When you hear people like Chuck Schumer going against it, they don't tell you that. That's more government. The Republicans' American Health Care Act gets government out of the way as much as possible. But they're doing it in 3 phases. Phase 1 is to defang Obamacare. That's the first step. Rather than replace with a simple piece of legislation, or repeal with a simple piece of legislation, as many want them to do, that would put the Republicans in a hole, and they would never be able to pass anything in order to fix this mess. So insurance companies are no different than any other companies. Competition determines their strategy, and it determines their success. One of the things that former Representative Price has talked about is that the AHCA approach is going to inspire more competition. Here's how your care will go up and your prices will go down. Competition. Right now, there are over 1,000 of our 3,142 counties that have only one insurance company doing business in that county. One. That's a recipe for higher prices and minimal service, if any at all. Now, it's clear that the Democrats and the liberals want to keep the Unaffordable Care Act because they love big government control, even when it doesn't work. And it's not working. They've tried to make it work for 7 years. If the structure was flawed from the beginning, it was never going to work. And the structure was flawed from the beginning. And for 7 years, we have seen it not work. We have seen people deductibles go through the roof. We have seen people premiums go through the roof. We have seen people not be able to get any insurance at all. We have seen people who have lost their jobs because companies couldn't afford to have more than 50 people and live up to those demands. We've seen all of that. We have seen these exchanges go bankrupt, some of them. We have seen it where some areas of the country, the exchanges couldn't even get off the ground. Why? Because of too much government control and too much government in our health care and insurance system. I published an article yesterday on the website, hermancain.com, that I hope you take a look at, where I describe our current mess as a pile of splinters. They didn't just blow up the building and knock down the walls. They blew up the building and it is a pile of splinters. And the Democrats believe they can fix it with more government control and even less competition. That does not work. It never has. Democrats, liberals, liberal organizations, and their media allies have resorted to totally misleading their supporters and the general public in an effort to kill the American Health Care Act. They make false claims about what will happen to prices and accessibility to health care and health insurance if the AHCA becomes law. These are the same people that lied to us about the UCA. Now look at the mess that we're in. Many of you have referenced the AARP ad that's running right here on this radio station and many other stations. That AARP ad is totally misleading and false. In it, it talks about an age tax. No such thing exists, and they know it. But they use that terminology to scare people, and that's what it's doing. I'm here to tell you that that ad is totally misleading and false, and they know that the impetus is on us to try to prove them wrong. I don't need to prove that they're wrong. I have read the summary of the legislation. I have looked at the changes that they have incorporated, and I happen to believe that the American Health Care Act is a great start. And I encourage you to contact your representatives and your senator, TARS, and let them know that it is a great start to support it. Competition is what drives down prices and increases care. That's what the AHCA legislation does. Don't believe the propaganda and the lies. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Herman Cain.
Always gives me insights to what I don't already think about or know.
Solutions for a better America.
See, when you turn on the
You got a minute? I'm a little concerned about what's been happening at the plant since those union organizers showed up. They're constantly on the shop floor, and they've been bugging me at home to support the union. But I just don't think we need a union around here.
Now that you mention it, I heard about a similar union drive at that factory down the road. Union officials actually agreed to block a pay raise in order to get the company to help them recruit new members.
I thought our state's right-to-work law blocked union officials from requiring us to join or pay dues to a union anyway.
That's true, but union officials can still keep us from negotiating our own employment terms if the union's voted in.
I just feel like we should be the ones that get to
Alrighty.
not the company or union officials. What can we do?
So you're going to keep on this theme through the rest of the show, right? And he isn't there.
They can't possibly say he was right. Can't possibly say that. Okay. What is Shelley talking about? Hey, Jack.
Not here.
What is he doing?
Commercials for Eric.
Oh.
I've told him he's got to tell them not during Herman show.
What do you mean he's putting them together?
I don't know. I do not know. There's 20 people on. Never mind.
Yep, they're trying to pull some more rabbits out of a hat. I've been to that rodeo. Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Remember, you just might learn something. Shelley, what's on your mind today on the Herman Cain Show?
What's on my mind, Herman, is the fact that Trump said he was going to repeal Obamacare, and he didn't. I think the Republican establishment got to him and has repeal and replace. I think Rand Paul has a great idea of putting a whole bunch of us together and us making, we go to the insurance companies as individuals, as a large group.
Okay, Shelley. All right, here's what I want you to do.
I work. Okay, just
wait. First, I want you to wait. Shelley. Hold on. Shelley. Let me talk, please. I want you to go and read the commentary that I wrote yesterday, okay, about why you can't just repeal first in its entirety. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version. If you just repeal first, then you're going to need 60 votes in it to pass anything. And the Democrats have said they aren't going to pass anything coming from the Republicans. It is the reality. Secondly, President Trump is a pragmatist. Paul Ryan is a pragmatist. And that's why they're doing it the way they are doing it. Phase 1, defang Obamacare. You can't repeal it and stop right there, or you will end up with nothing. Then people will be complaining about the fact that they repealed it, and if you just repeal it in its entirety, there's nothing there. People would get hurt. Please read the piece I wrote about this yesterday. It walks you through the rationale, okay? Thank you. Coming up, guiding principles to success on the Herman Cain Show. I know, streamers, you all have heard me explain this at least a dozen times, just this week alone. People don't want to read. They don't want to listen. They want to pick up whatever idea they like and think that it is gospel. You can't repeal by itself and stop right there. But you got some people hung up on it. Why? They're listening to Rand Paul. He lost, remember? Loser. They want to listen to Mike Lee. He's angry about something because he lost something. Don't listen to these losers. When the AHCA passes and it goes to the Senate, there's going to be another fight because they are going to try to kill it for all the wrong reasons. Write that down, Shani B. That's brilliant. They're going to try to kill it for all of the wrong reasons. Okay. I feel better now. Thank y'all for listening, because I was off the air. It's just exasperating. And then you got representatives and you got senators who are basically spreading lies about the bill. I got it right here. Why don't they read it? Maybe they're too busy being busy that they can't read it for themselves. Read it. That's why I had to cut Shelley off. She was going down that same path. Any of y'all want my job? Let me know. I'll switch with you. I need some time off. They think this is easy. Shelley, it's called the American Health Care Act is a great and necessary start. Here are the reasons why. Well, he didn't do what he said he was going to do. He didn't tell you how he was going to repeal it. He just said we're going to repeal it. Any volunteers? Oh, come on, Lynn. Don't you want to switch places with me for a day? Sonia, come on. Dora, don't y'all want to switch for a day and do this? Dora said, heck no. Nope, I'm good. Thanks, team. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Because you all are paying attention at least. Some of these other folk, they ain't paying attention. Nope. Nah. Now I got to get ready for my next segment. Okay. After my little rant, I feel better now. Let me give you all a hint. We're not back on the air yet. It's going to be about what does bread and cars have in common? It's called a tease. That is true. Lee, I'm trying to get fired, but they won't. Oh, they've arrested somebody who was making the Jewish Community Center bomb threats. No, one uses gas, and the other one could cause gas. Y'all are too much. Yes, that's the answer. Yes. Tori. You're right, Tori. That's it. That's what they have in common. Free market and competition. That's the topic I'm going to talk about.
All right, GPS coming up.
Cain's vast experience can help you achieve your own personal success. This is your GPS, Guiding Principles of Success.
Thank you for joining us for our special segment each week called Guiding Principles of Success. And the topic that I want to address today, and you're welcome to make calls if we have time to take some on the topic, is called competition. Last week, we talked extensively about service, and how that was a key ingredient to success in any business. Competition is the same way. Competition and how you handle it represents another big key to success. Allow me to give some examples. The loaf of bread you prefer is not the only brand on the shelf at the grocery store. The reason I thought of this example is because the last several times at my house when we were out of bread, my wife asked me to stop and pick up a loaf of bread. I become the bread man in addition to the garbage man. But that's a different story. Bread. So every time I go in to buy a loaf of bread, I see all of the different brands of bread that they have there. There's a particular one that we prefer. That's the one that I get. A couple of times I tried some of the others, and here's what I noticed. The quality of most of them is very similar, as well as the pricing. But if one brand tries to raise its price much more than the others without a noticeable increase in quality, that brand of bread would lose some of its sales volume. It's called competition. Here's another example. When Henry Ford made the first T-model car, you could get it in 3 colors: black, black, or black. Those are your 3 choices. As soon as a new car competitor introduced cars and you could choose a different color other than black, voila! Ford started making cars in multiple colors. Why? Competition. Now look at all of the colors, the styles, the sizes, the makes, and the many other variations in car choices we have today. It's called competition. That's how it works for everything we buy. Take a look at the clothes you buy. Now, some people have a favorite store that they go to because they like the styles that are sold in that store and the prices that go with it. Some people will say, I can't afford to buy clothes at a St. John's store or a St. John's department. Why? St. John's distinguishes itself with very high quality knit clothing, and it is very expensive compared to what you can buy comparably somewhere else. But that's what you decide to do. You decide on what you want to pay for the quality that you get. But even at the high end, there's various competition. Even in the middle range, there's competition. Here's one of the examples that I like to use because of my experiences at Burger King. The Whopper versus the Big Mac. Because if you are going to an area of town where you see a McDonald's, you don't have to look far before you will also see a Whopper. And whenever you see Burger King running a special on Whoppers, you better believe McDonald's is going to be running a special on the Big Mac. Now, if you look at a Big Mac in terms of the amount of meat on it versus the amount of meat on a Whopper, they are comparable, except they make the Whopper a little wider and they put a lot of stuff on it. And in Big Mac, you know, they got the extra piece of bread and all of that. The bottom line is those 2 big hamburger sandwiches compete against one another. That's why the prices aren't $7 a sandwich. Competition. If it wasn't for the competition, they might continue to just raise the prices. If you were to go to an area where you have a lot of quick service restaurants and they're charging you $7 for a Big Mac and only charging you $3 for a Whopper, if you've had them, you look at the quality and you go, the Big Mac's quality isn't that much better that I'm going to pay over twice as much. No. That's why the people at McDonald's have to work hard to keep their price in line, which means they're also working at keeping their costs down to be able to provide the quality of the Big Mac so it can compete against the Whopper. It's called competition. That's how it works for everything we buy. Everything. Remember the whole EpiPen story? The EpiPen outrage? Remember that? One of my grandsons has to use EpiPens. Okay, I got 2 of them, I'm told, have to use EpiPen. One day they wake up, it was $200 to buy a pair of EpiPens, and because of particular... Now, they couldn't get away with it because the company had a patent-protected monopoly on a product that many people had to have for medical safety reasons. That's true. But then the consumer pressure caused them to develop a lower-cost alternative quickly. Imagine that. They developed an alternative to compete against its higher-priced EpiPen. Now, I haven't followed what has happened to EpiPen sales versus the alternative, but they were forced to create competition within its own company because of consumer pressure. The other way consumers speak their mind is they're not going to pay $7 for a Whopper for a Big Mac when you can get a Whopper for $3. Pretty soon, when they're not selling any Big Macs, they're going to lower the price. It's called competition. Now, let's look at this thing called competition from 50,000 feet, as I call it, in the big picture. Our U.S. economy is the largest in the world because of competition, innovation, entrepreneurial freedom, and as little government control as possible. As little as possible. I say as little as possible because there is some indirect government control in some of the things we do in the private sector. For example, rules and regulations that are imposed on businesses. Now, they're supposed to be imposed in order to level the playing field, but sometimes they're not imposed to level the playing field. They're imposed to drive political agendas. The best example I can think of is the example concerning climate change. For the last 8 years, we were lectured to about climate change. The EPA was on steroids, imposing rules and regulations that were good for the climate, but they didn't care what it did to business. That has now all changed. We have a president that says we will keep those rules and regulations relative to climate change if they make sense economically, as well as if they make sense and the information is there to verify it in terms of how much harm is being done to the economy. There was a recent study that just came out we reported on earlier this week, how if you look at what has happened to our climate, our environment over the last 3 years, the amount of stuff in the air has remained flat. Surprise! So all of these regulations that were designed to basically try to drive them lower and lower and lower, a lot of things are happening, and we don't need all these regulations. So if you look at our economy, we will be 240 years old. We were 240 years old as a nation last year. 240 years old. We have the largest economy in the world, the largest, nearly around $18 trillion. The second largest country isn't even close, and that would be China. We're 240 years old, almost 241 years old. Our population is only 4%, roughly, of the world's population. But yet, our economy represents over 23% of the world GDP. Think about it. 4% of the population, 24% of the GDP. Why is that? That is because of competition, innovation, and entrepreneurial freedom. That's why. And it trickles all the way down to every business at every level. But the more you try to have government micromanage and control prices and quality from the top, the less it performs. Sadly, the best contrast to that is the country of Venezuela. Venezuela has had a dictatorial government control for decades now. And as a result, the competitive business environment has suffered. And now they have a social and economic crisis on their hands because of too much government control. Too much government control. Every person operating a business successfully is very aware of their competition. You have to be. Even this radio show. In the time slot that we are in, we are very aware of what's on other stations at the same time. And we have ways of measuring it because we need to know whether or not our show format is beating the competition. Competition is everywhere. That's what makes this nation great as an economy. Now, the ones that are going to suffer in the future that don't understand the concept of competition, whether it's in the workforce, whether it's for a job, whether it's for a product, are those snowflakes out there. The snowflakes who are looking for safe spaces on college campuses are going to be lost when they meet the real world. In the real world, competition inspires success. It's one of the drivers of success. And so look around you. Competition is everywhere, and it's working. That's how you become and remain successful. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
He has solutions for a better America.
He's just common sense.
This is Herman Cain.
So is that okay? Genius?
Most excellent.
Kind of evergreenish.
That was evergreenish.
So last week I did service. This week I did competition.
Are you leaving us? I'll be right back.
Okay. Next week I'll do cleanliness. That's the old QSC motto. Quality, cleanliness, and service. Tell the Lee, keep it clean, keep it clean. This is a family-oriented show.
Schumer is meeting with Democrats to tell them to oppose the health care bill. Well, they don't need to meet with Schumer. They can just meet with any Republican. Schumer could take the day off.
He can take, to go to the beach, man.
The lovely...
Go watch some Abbott and Costello.
The lovely beaches of the sanctuary state, Maryland.
Yeah, that's a good place to go. It's within driving distance of D.C.
All right, guys.
Bye. Thank
Thanks for everything, man.
I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully we get some good news tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't hold
Hey,
your
don't forget
breath.
the games. I know you didn't forget the games on tonight.
Which one?
The NCAA Sweet 16.
Oh, it starts tonight? I thought it starts on Friday.
Nope, start tonight.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, I'll definitely be watching
Yep,
tonight.
tonight, and then they play again Saturday, and Friday they play again Sunday. You mean I knew something you didn't know?
No. Listen, I didn't even know last night the World Baseball Classic, the championship was on last night either.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I've been kind of, I watched so many games last weekend that I'm like.
I wasn't following that. I don't even know what that means.
It's basically they've created a World Cup for baseball, and it's and the U.S. won it all. It's okay. It's not very competitive because it happens before the season.
I got you.
But the U.S. won, so good news.
But are they considered amateurs or professionals?
Professionals. It's all it's just like soccer. Like they take the professionals from each of the teams. And,
Okay, got it.
Play. And the U.S. beat Puerto Rico, which is weird because Puerto Rico is kind of U.S. too. So
Yeah.
What? But anywho.
Not officially. All right, thanks, man. Great job.
All right, have a good one.
Ashley, you back? You enjoy your meeting?
No. Doug Turnbull talks too much.
I hope Doug doesn't watch this stream.
He's in a meeting right now, talking.
Was it a traffic meeting?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
We have all these new websites and apps and things. We had to talk about all of that. And we have, I guess, 5 new people.
Wow.
Yeah, we've doubled in size. So, yeah, Pete and Candace were there.
Oh, okay. Good thing we just self-sufficient over here with Radio Gold. Shane, did you see anything that indicated when they're going to start the voting? I just heard that they're going to start tonight.
Yeah, I think 7 p.m.
Okay.
Won't take long.
No.
Do you have any particular preference for the name of the news nugget about the vote today?
The big AHCA vote.
Anytime.
Thank you for joining us today on the Herman Cain Show. As most of you all know, the big vote in the House of Representatives is going to take place later today or tonight. And some people in the media are billing it as all or nothing, do or die. No, it's not. The reason that this first vote is being taken, and I'm certainly hoping that it's going to be successful in favor of the AHCA, American Health Care Act, is because it is the anniversary date on which President Obama signed into law the disastrous Unaffordable Care Act. But just in case it doesn't pass in the House tonight, that doesn't mean it's the end of the process. It means that the process is well underway. Why? I happen to think that they have a very good framework. And all of these people that are out there screaming, we need to repeal first everything, don't realize the damage that it would do to a lot of people. It'll leave a lot of people with no options whatsoever. Read the commentary that I wrote at 4 a.m. yesterday morning explaining all of this. If you have any questions about why the Republicans are doing it this way, there are a list of good reasons. And the biggest reason is the Unaffordable Care Act, which was signed 7 years ago, didn't just knock the walls out of the building or blew out the windows of the building that we call health care and health insurance. It blew it up and turned it into splinters. You cannot piece splinters back together to rebuild a building. You have to start with a brand new foundation. It's called competition. Then you got to add the walls. That's what the Republican plan is doing. You start with building a firm foundation. Then you eliminate some of the egregious regulations, and then you pass whatever legislation you need to cover the rest. It's a process, folks, as well as a promise. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. Go to hermancain.com. Read all about it. You will learn something. I'm your host, Herman Cain. And for my commentary tomorrow, I'm going to write about losers. Losers in the Senate. Shane B, you could probably write that one for me.
Which one?
Bye, y'all. Thanks. See you tomorrow.